Though, well, very early into what should have been a 3-year contract. Hull KR then against the Catalan Dragons. We're about to get underway. It's a cloudy night here in East Yorkshire, but the wind that delayed the Catalan Dragons' arrival at their team hotel last night, the bridge apparently was closed because of the high winds, so they had to do a 1.5-hour diversion for what should have been a 15-minute journey. They weren't too impressed when they arrived at the hotel, but they've settled in nicely. They're all ready for the challenge, and here we go. This game then is underway, and underneath the kick-off inside his own goal area was Richie Myler, and he gives the ball then to Willie Mason, and there's that particularly warm welcome from the Rovers fans we were talking about.
And that was the plan right the way going into this game from kick-off. Let's kick it to Willie Mason, let's test him out early on. Let's not give some early ball to Dave Taylor. Don't let him pick where he's going to run. You want to make sure that you get decent line speed. Anyone who's explosive, you need to get up really quick and stop them generating that momentum going forward.
Oh, and an early attempt here at a 40-20 from Richie Myler, and it's getting its way to the line. It's getting its way. That's a brilliant, brilliant kick. Great kick from Myler. Puts Catalan right on the front foot.
Well, he knows that he needs to lead from the front. No Todd Carney. So there's extra pressure on Richie Myler. He chooses to kick on the third play. There's no pressure. Gets a decent play of the ball, so the whole KR defensive line can't get up, but look at that excellent kick from the youngster.
What a great decision to kick. It takes all the sting out of the whole KR defence. Good line speed, and you're quite right, from the kick-off they wanted to send a message out to the Dragons players that they were in for a tough night. And Richie Myler, again, just great game control, game management.
So they are on the attack here with Gigo. He gets the ball wide to Krishnan Inu, and Inu has got 2 and then 3 and 4 coming in to deny him just a metre or so away from that Hull Kingston Rovers line. Orton was the dummy half. Here is Glenn Stewart, and he finds Myler. Myler then gives it to Willie Mason, and Mason making ground towards the line, clawed down by the Rovers defenders. Here now is Thomas Bosk. He finds Gigo again. They go wide, and they're in. They're in with Jody Broughton. First try inside the opening 2 minutes to the Catalan Dragons. And a small band of supporters, youngsters who are playing games in the area over the course of this weekend, delighted with the start they've made, and delighted with the 40-20 from Richie Myler, who will also be delighted himself in being described as a youngster by Terry O'Connor. He's 25, Terry.
He still is compared to you, Eddie, but there you go, kicking on the third play. That's excellent vision from Richie Myler. No, he's playing behind a very big pack. If they get some decent field position, they'll switch the ball from one side to the other, pulling defenders out. As soon as a couple of defenders come in, the ball, the excellent pass from Tony Gigo, made his name as a scrum half. He goes out the back and he pulls in the defenders. Everyone's having a look at what he does. Kieran Dixon loses the eyes. Where's Jody Broughton? Well, Jody Broughton's hugging the touchline, and he goes in for the opening try.
It's a very impressive start, isn't it, for the Dragons here now. The attack from the scrum didn't quite score, sent it to one side and brought it back the other. They've been the best team in Super League in the opening 10 minutes of all the games so far. That's the 8th try they've scored inside the first 10 minutes, and they've conceded just 1. They've been fantastic, and they've just proven again their ability to start games quicker than their opponents has set them apart so far.
So Jody Broughton's try, and this man, Pat Richards, the 2010 Man of Steel, the Irish international, formerly with Wigan, of course, in the Super League. He can kick it if anybody can, Richards. But not this time. Not this time. Pat Richards misses. 4-0 though, the Catalan Dragons. A fantastic start for them.
The lovely stuff from the Dragons, very confident. Every pass, every catch, right on the mark. Tony Gigo gives the money ball. He could have chosen to give it Christian Inu. He misses him out and finds Jody Broughton. Lovely start from the Dragons.
A great start from the Dragons, a great start from Jody Broughton. That ball was out because Richard had his foot over the line. Even though he knocks on, the ball is deemed, Stewart, to be out.
As soon as it touches him, if his foot's outside of the field of play, then, which it is, it stays on the ground, so that means it's a ball back and it's a penalty in the centre. The ball's been kicked out on the full.
Well, last week we saw Morgan Esquire get that wrong, probably about halfway through the second half. He caught the ball, then stepped out, and it was head and feed and scrum to the opposition witness.
Well, the Rovers faithful, not too impressed with the decision. We're convinced that the foot was well and truly on the ground, are we?
Well, I am. certainly the footage I've seen, his foot's on the line. He just has to touch it with his body. He doesn't have to take possession.
And so too was the touch judge, who happens to be James Child on this near side in this first half. So again, Catalan Dragons beginning a set of 6 deep inside their opponent's territory. This is Batieri, who was fed by Willie Mason. And they quickly come in to cut him down. Dane Tilts was in very, very quickly indeed. Pellissier gets the ball away to Mile, another long ball wide to Richards. Richards brings it back infield. Well, can they lay a finger on him? Eventually they do. Clarkson having to help out in the defence. Pellissier gets the ball away again. Here is Dave Taylor. His slip pass finds the ground, but also finds Broughton. Just lost their way slightly there, the Dragons, but they've reached the last tackle, so expect another kick here. And there it comes from Thomas Boss. Crossfield looking for Richards. Best in the air, Richards palms the ball down. Vincent Duport is in for the second try for the Catalan Dragons. It's a dream start for Laurent Fresnou's men.
Eddie, you said Pat Richards, one of the best in the earth. Haven't we seen him in Super League over the years? When the ball goes high in the sky, he's one of the biggest wingers that's knocking around in Super League. And Pat Richards coming up with the clever play from the restart, from the opening try. He sticks his foot out of the field of play. Yep, that is fine. James Child, the touch judge here, gets it right on the left-hand side. The kick from Boss. He's looking for Pat Richards. He's looking for Pat Richards to get over his winger. And when he gets over his winger, it's not a rushed pass. He makes sure it's a nice control, pat back inside, because he knows that some of his teammates are there. Vince Duport, he doesn't commit and he doesn't push up too hard because he knows that ball's going to come down, and he's the man who scores the try.
The thing that's most impressed me about the Dragons in the opening 5 minutes are the skills, the passing of the forwards. That was Louis Anderson's involvement. We've also seen Mason, Batieri and Glenn Stewart make passes already in this game. Forwards passing in this part of the field has caused problems for the Rovers, and they've just conceded the second try.
4th try of the campaign for Vincent Duport. He got a try against Widnes last week as well in Perpignan. Only 6 appearances for him last year, 3 tries though. And he's been centre in all the games so far in 2016. Well, we arrived here today wondering if this 11th season could be the finest yet for the Dragons. They look at times potential dark horses to make it to the Old Trafford Grand Final on the 8th of October. Some big money close season signings, and they're all performing well, and here is one of them, Pat Richards, to try and add the extras, and he makes the mark this time. Tremendous kick from the other side of the field. 10-0 up they are inside the opening 6 minutes.
Laurent Fresnou must be delighted with the start that his side have made. It's in complete contrast to Hull KR at home, and James Webster, he'll have prepared all week, trying to put his side in front of every eventuality. I don't think in his darkest thoughts he thought that they'd be 10-0 down in just over 6 minutes.
Willie Mason getting the boos from the faithful as well, and there's a problem, isn't there, early for James Webster and the Hull Kingston Rovers side. As I say, they beat the Catalan here in Super League last year 50-20 last March. Then they won in a cup quarter-final 32-26. That was when they faced each other last June.
The fascinating thing though about that 50-20, and just before half-time, the Dragons were ahead 20 points to 4. And all of a sudden there was a 46-point swing. Those point swings between these two sides isn't unusual, and even if the Dragons score again, it wouldn't surprise me if there is a big comeback from the Rovers. Both teams get on a roll. They've had all the possession so far, and they've scored all the points.
Bosk with the kick, and a fumble by Kieran Dixon. Oh, and he's decided, the referee, that is a knock-on.
I think he's right, Eddie. Kieran Dixon, he decides he wants to take it at the first attempt. It bounces up, it's a wicked bounce. There it is.
It's going backwards.
It goes backwards, doesn't it? It goes backwards into his leg and then continues to go backwards. Unfortunate there for Hull Kingston Rovers.
Yeah, well, he doesn't get the call, and that ball goes backwards for me. But at the end of the day, they've conceded a penalty, they've conceded a try. They've then made a mistake, they've conceded a try. This is the 3rd error now that's gone against them. They need to make sure that they toughen up in defence. They can't feel sorry for themselves here. It's a big set of 6. It's a huge set of 6 for Hull KR.
And a brilliant try from that man Kieran Dixon last week was the highlight of their win at Headingley, but well, this is yet more pressure coming in on this Rovers defence. And there is Myler, and he gets the ball away. Time for Hull KR to muscle up in defence as Gigot goes down on the first tackle, but they're only 2 or 3 metres away from the line. Duport gives it then to Myler. Myler finds Taylor, tilts in very quickly. Pelissier again comes down this side once more, gets away, struggles away from 2 or 3. Then the reinforcements arrive. Ben Cockayne managed to make some ground there, and Baccieri goes for the line himself, but he's held up just short. They're all underneath him. Pelissier waits again at dummy half. Back it comes to Taylor in centre field. And he's a big man, and that shows the strength of him because he can carry Mitch Allgood on his back 2 or 3 metres towards the line. Pelissier again to Myler. Nice little dink ball into the in-goal area, and Kieran Dixon, he thought he could get out of trouble, but he can't. It's a goal line dropout.
Yeah, well, every player for Catalan seems to be an option. What is this
a high tackle on the play in the in-goal area?
Well, certainly goes over his shoulder, doesn't he?
So just ask the video referee to check the contact here.
Well, I'm not sure what he's asking the video referee for, because the video referee can't rule on this. You know, on field, he's awarded a goal line dropout. All they can do is check to see whether he's right. You know, we're not awarding penalties through the video referee in that situation. You know, we should go with the goal line dropout.
That's okay.
And that's what he's doing.
You don't see many games where one team has the ball for the entirety of the opening 10 minutes, but that's what Hull KR have to defend here on this set.
Allgood in quickly with 2 others to try and bring Willie Mason down. One of them is Thomas Minns. Yes, they're having a fairly torrid opening to this match, are the Rovers. 12 times, this will now be 13 times in the opposition half. And, well, Rovers, if you believe those statistics, they've yet to play the ball in this match.
Well, Catalan just haven't been challenged, have they? All the energy's with them because they've not been defending. They're not getting up and down on the floor. All they are is running up, they're pushing up in support, good shape from the half-backs and playing off some decent quick play, the balls.
Louis Anderson goes down and plays the ball to Pelissier. Here is Myler. Myler gives it then to Glenn Stewart, who comes on an angled run. Once again on the inside, it was Robbie Mulhern in quickly on him. Pelissier to Myler, another stab to the in-goal area. Work to do for Ben Cockayne, and this time they get possession, and for the first time in 10.5 minutes, Hull Kingston Rovers had the ball in their hands.
Yeah, it was good positioning from Ben Cockayne to just come round the back, knowing that there was going to be a threat from Richie Myler. Penalty, they needed this.
They needed that, and you could hear the crowd really getting on the back of Richard Silboard.
It's as plain as plain, the mark is not set.
And you've got to credit Dixon for that. He gets up, his energy to play that ball, even though they've been under pressure. He knew that he had to come up with a play. The forwards have been doing a lot of defence, and he had to go in, get a quick play of the ball, come up with a decent speed set, and earn his right to get that penalty.
Now then, can they actually put some pressure on this Catalan Dragons defence here? They will be hoping that they can. And Allgood will get to his feet. Plays the ball to Lawler. Lawler then brings the ball down this right-hand side. It's a misplaced pass. Ben Cockayne has to tidy up for the Rovers. Richie Myler all over him. They're back inside their own half of the field. But for how long? Because this is Thomas Minns, former Leeds man. He has missed the last 4, but he's restored to the side tonight. Tilts once again will take it forward up the middle, but solid tackling by Willie Mason. Then the kick to the corner over the head of Pat Richards, and will this trickle its way? Touch and goal, yes it does. So a tap restart on the 20.
Well, they were just hoping for the ball just to sit up in the in-goal area, maybe force another set of 6, or at least stay in the field of play, so they could just trap Catalan in the close to the trial. And James Webster, one of the best kickers that I've seen play the sport. He's been absolutely quality. He's added something to this whole KR side, but they need to make sure that the final plays are better than that, Eddie.
Massive possession in favour of the Catalan Dragons, and the score line as well at the moment, 10-0. And look at that great run from Krishnan Inu.
Eddie, and we talk about the forwards, and what about the centres? Vince DePaul, Krishnan Inu, they're big all over the park.
Yes, they are. Here they come again, testing this Rovers defence at every opportunity. Baccieri will get up and play the ball to Pelissier. He then gives it to Richie Myler. It looks like he's enjoying life in the south of France. Pelissier waits again behind him. This is the last tackle, though, so a kick comes in and to the line and picked up by Kensio.
Physical challenge from Pelissier, helped out by Lou Emerson. Good play of the ball and good read from Ben Cockayne. That's what you want from your fullback on the second play.
Good read from Cockayne, great tackle from Batieri.
It's another strong carry, that, Eddie.
Oh, and they get the penalty this time, the Rovers.
Great carry. All comes about from Ben Cockayne's first run, where he gets going forward, pins his ears back, plays direct, goes upfield, and then off the back of that, it's easier for your man behind the play.
Is this tackle completed?
Well, obviously Dave Taylor didn't think so. Looks like he breaks the tackle, and Taylor goes into complete, and he's penalised.
Well, it was Thomas Minns who got the penalty from the referee's whistle. And here now is James Greenwood, who will stand up and play the ball eventually, a little untidily, and too untidily, and all offside, says Richard Silverwood, the Catalan defence.
Some urgency into Hull KR. You mentioned the energy battle. Always said that the first 10 minutes, Hull KR have been virtually defending all those 10 minutes. They've got some possession. They've at last got a bit of position. Let's see what they can do with it.
Eddie, that's the reward from running hard when you're leaving defenders on the floor behind you who can't get set. So it gives that penalty away because you can't get out the way.
Matty Marsh was the man who found Dane Tilts. They have high hopes of Matty Marsh at this part of the world. He's only 18 years of age. And a big drive coming in here from Mulhern to the 10-metre line. Lawler at dummy half. He gets the ball away again. Good quick hands. Cockayne thought about passing the ball off the ground, but Glenn Stewart was on him in a flash, and then Cockayne looking for the pen. That was a knock-on by Cockayne. It's allowed to go.
It opened up for Blur then, didn't it?
Very close. And once again, Allgood trying to find a way past this Catalan Dragons defence. Lawler is the dummy half over on that far side of the field. Good hands, good defence though against Ian Thornley, and that will be the turnover.
It's great defence, isn't it? The Dragons have shown us in the opening 15 they can attack, some brilliant players to put some points on the board, but they can also defend. They've come within a fantastic attitude tonight, and I think the carrot of potentially going away from this ground, sitting in second position as we reach the sort of spring period here now, and the weather gets warmer, the pitches get faster. I think this is a tremendous start for them in this match.
Yes, they have suffered in the past, and Lauren Frayson, who puts it actually down to media talk and media hype that they have this travel sickness, but you can't deny the facts and figures. And up until this season, Lauren Frayson, whose team did find it a struggle on the road. Well, so far they're not tonight. I wonder how they'll go next Thursday when they're at the home of the Saints. 7:30 on Sky Sports 2 next Thursday. We'll see them again on one of their away days. That's good work by Cockayne. They went from the 40-20 there, did the Dragons. Here is Kieran Dixon.
He's come up with a couple of big plays early on in this game. Ben Cockayne, the offload from Dixon. Known he's been pushed back. Ken Seo's there. Again finding the front, the outside backs. Clever read.
Yeah, that was good work by Cockayne, certainly. And Thomas Minns will play the ball. Sean Lunt is out there.
Well, he came on last week and he was very good, wasn't he, against Leeds Rhinos?
Yes, 2 tries off the bench last week for Sean Lunt. Dane Tilts carries the ball forward once again. He slips the ball away though. Batieri and Taylor in very quickly on Sean Lunt. Rovers will be desperate to get on the board if they possibly can.
No, they started the game slow, Eddie, but the last 10 minutes they seem to have got back into it. They're into the grind, they're into the game now. They're going set for set with Catalan, and that's exactly what they need to do. Play the ball and play the game up this end of the park. Ask questions, keep turning the big forwards round from Catalan, because as the game gets on, the big men, the likes of Willie Mason, Dave Taylor, Glenn Stewart, they'll struggle to get back behind the ball to bring it forward.
3, here we are! Up!
3 tackles gone, 13 metres away from their own line, the Catalan Dragons. And Pat Richards has drifted in off the wing to try and help out. Pelissier waits behind him, and Bosk again goes for a 40-20. This has got a chance, but Kieran Dixon is quick and had to be then. You see what the tactics are, can't you, from the Catalan Dragons? Kick, turn them round and kick early.
Well, all teams would like to do that if they get to the end of the set 6, but when Hull KR turned Catalan around, you've seen that none of the forwards took the ball forward, and that's what I say. Eddie, you get into that energy battle. It's really difficult when the ball keeps going over your head to get back behind it to bring it forward.
Dylan Dixon has a problem. After being tackled, he is back on his feet, way back though in play, not involved in this attack whatsoever. As Greenwood struggles to his feet, receiving some treatment. Is it a contact lens he's lost there, Kieran Dixon?
There's some static defenders as well for Catalan now, they can't get set.
Sean Lunt, this is the last tackle. High kick from Maurice Blair, high and deep, far too deep. But it's all over the place and Gigo has spilled it. This is a glorious opportunity on the free play. But they've knocked the ball on.
It was a brilliant kick, that. When you watch the twists and turns that ball takes in the air, Tony Gizo's not a bad player under the high ball, but he didn't make a great attempt at getting close enough to where it came down. It changed direction, and he'd be so relieved here that the OKR side weren't able to pick this up and turn it into 4 or 6 points. Doesn't bounce, does it, clearly enough here for the chasers who come to take it. And it's a knock-on. Is it Adam Walker just on the field? He can't take it, and neither can Greenwood.
Let's keep working in
But
this
the important thing, as far as Rovers are concerned, they're going to get head and feet at this scrum 10 metres away from the Dragons' line. And it was a deep kick, it was a high hanging kick. Gigo just wasn't in position to take it. That's why he spilled it forward.
He didn't look confident, did he, Eddie, underneath it?
Heads in, Sean.
So this is a chance for Rovers again to try and post some points as Maurice Blair gets the ball away to Clarkson. Clarkson then finds Thornley, but the Dragons are muscling up in defence as they have to in this set of 6. This is Blair again, and here is Adam Walker off the bench, Scottish international.
Ball's come out there, was it stolen?
Yes, it was. Sean Lunt was appealing, and the referee, Richard Silverwood, agrees.
More possession, closer to the line, this is exactly what they need. Under pressure in the opening 10 minutes, a quick tap here.
Not sure they did lose that illegally, but anyway, that's the view of the referee. And so Rovers will not be complaining at 10-0 down as we approach the 20th minute of this match. Lunt gets the ball away. It's Walker once again. He's got the strength and size to test this defence. He's doing exactly that.
Sorry, Ed, he's got great offload as well.
Lunt fires the ball to Maurice Blair. Oh, over the top it goes, and it was nearly taken in by Chris Naninu. It's another knock-on, it's another scrum coming up. And it will be head and feet to Rovers once again. With all this pressure from Hull KR, they've surely got to get over the line soon.
Yeah, you'd like to think so if you're a Hull KR fan. Blair throws that long ball.
Good job he lost it, actually.
Yeah, instead of trying to play short, because the Catalan players are shooting the line, tries to throw it over the top and get the ball into the hands of Thornley and maybe Dixon, who's on the left wing. It's going to be a good ball to hit one of your players going forward, getting the ball over Chris Naninu. He's a big man.
4 penalties on the run against the Dragons, says referee Richard Silverwood.
We've had 4 penalties, guys, okay?
He hasn't made the sign, though, has he, Stuart? He did say there's a caution, but he didn't make the sign of the arm in front of the Catalan players.
He's given them a warning before a caution.
So they're on a warning for the caution.
They'll be on a caution.
Okay, so they know they've got to smarten their act up. Greenwood. And over the shoulder it goes, and Ben Kane, but this time the referee agreed it did go backwards. Pelissier wrestles Cockayne to the floor.
Pushing forward. Play on the mat,
Lunt into centre field again for Adam Walker.
2, Jason! Line!
Lunt once more. Now they're in dangerous territory for the Dragons with Sean Lunt. Plays the ball there to Lawler. Comes wide. And the chance for Clarkson, but again, the Catalan Dragons defence, they claw him down.
They're up quick, Eddie. They cut him down the thinking time, Hull KR.
Very quick, aren't they? They're up in their faces.
Dominant.
Go 5!
And Sean Lunt provides the key. Oh no, it's found Myler. And Myler has got support with him. He's through Cocaine's tackle. And a good job that Matty Marsh had come back. Marsh wrestling to get in front of Myler as he played the ball.
Well, isn't that the sign of a good side? Under pressure for 4 sets of 6, and they get the ball and go up the other end of the pitch.
And here's another try for Jody Broughton. Second try for Broughton. Third try for the Catalan Dragons. They have been pressed on their own line, and straight up the other end of the field they go. And they come up with a try from Broughton, his second of the match, and that was so easy down the right-hand side.
Yeah, it looked like they needed it, Eddie. I'm just looking at the Catalan players around halfway. They're absolutely out on the feet. They've got the hands on the knees, and then Jody Broughton scores that try, his second of the game. and it just gets them out of trouble. But when you're looking to play, you're in good field position, you want to play the ball and score some tries, as they try to do. Richie Myler comes up with that ball, he doesn't panic. James Webster drops his head. He knows that it's a perfect opportunity that they've wasted. Richie Myler takes the tackle, and the ball will go from one side to the other. And Catalan are one of those sides that don't die wondering. They commit defenders, they pull them out the line and supply passes like that.
I think Glenn Stewart's done fantastically well there, hasn't he? To be in the position, up as you say, some of his teammates not up in there, and then to play, create the time and space for his centre outside him, Inu, who then creates the opportunity for his winger. Look, gets outside one man, draws in Thornley, and all of a sudden, with the overlap, they've got to play with the pace to score. 6 points from one end of the field to the other.
And 2 tries in 21 minutes for Jody Broughton. He got a hat-trick against Huddersfield in 11 minutes not long ago. So he's on the verge of a second hat-trick of the season here. And Pat Richards is almost bang in front of the sticks. And that means that's another 2 points to the Catalan Dragons total. They lead here by 16 points to 0.
Well, Eddie, I was just watching the OKR players beneath the sticks. See Louis Anderson provide the beginning to that play. Good contributions from Glenn Stewart, I agree. But for me, it's about the response of the Rovers now. Have they got enough character? They're 16 points behind on the scoreboard. They've had 4 sets of 6, 4 attempts to score a try and failed.
I think what was most impressive for the Dragons was the fact that Richard Myler held on to the ball when he got up to the halfway line. They showed some self-discipline with possession, which at times in the past they haven't. They've looked to score spectacular tries. He knew take the tackle and back his teammates on the next run.
That was a good
shot from Walker. Tremendous shot from Walker. Tomorrow we are at the Halliwell-Jones Stadium, Warrington, for Warrington against St Helens. Saints, one of the big bogey teams to the Warrington Wolves. We're at 7:45 and we're on Sky Sports 2 for that. Offside here against Hull Kingston Rovers at this play the ball. Too quickly off the mark, you could see. He had about, what, 8, 9 to choose either side?
Well, they're just trying to control them, Eddie. They know that they're losing that battle. You let the big forwards run forwards. They're on the front foot. It's very difficult to stop them then.
Right, we've got to go down to Bill Arthur, who's on the sideline. News of Pat Richards for us, Bill.
Well, Eddie, they didn't just buy Pat Richards for his point-scoring prowess. There's bags of experience there. A real interesting moment before he lined up that last conversion. He just had a quick word with Tony Gigot, who'd spilled that high kick a few moments before they went in for that try, and just gave him some tips about where he should have positioned his body to claim that kick. He had his feet way away from where the ball was coming down. His hands were out. Well, Richards had time to just demonstrate where he should have been. There was a shake of the hands. We'll see how Tony Gigot responds to the next high one that comes his way.
And I think they might throw another high one at Tony Gigot, and you're right, Bill. We'll see just whether he's listened to the master himself. Meanwhile, here is Glenn Stewart, and he just put the brakes on then and sidestepped a couple. They're under the pump, Rovers, and there's the kick to the in-goal area from Chris Naninu that's just too long.
It just keeps on turning them around. You look at Glenn Stewart and his involvements, and what Catalan seem to be doing. They're stepping off the right foot when they're going out to the right edge. They're stepping off the right foot. They're squirting up and they're asking questions of the Hull KR defenders. They're not allowing them to slide out, which is creating that extra man on the edge.
And for Hull KR, I watched Leeds play Hull KR, and they were dominated the Rhinos purely and simply because of the speed of the play of the ball. We see Richard Silverwood giving them a warning.
Yes, next penalty is sin bin.
The point I was going to make, Eddie, was about the speed of the play of the ball. Sean Lund, not only did he score 2 tries, he controlled every aspect of that game last weekend. It was on the back of good play from the forwards and the inability from the opposition. Last week it was the Rhinos. This week it could be the Catalan Dragons to control that ruck speed.
Team warning then for the Catalan Dragons after the warning about the warning from Richard Silverwood. And they've got James Green on the field now. Another of the big men coming off the bench for James Webster's Hull Kingston Rovers. Lunt gets the ball away. Good hands, Thornley. Thornley is wrestled to the ground by Inu.
Who's got to stay in there?
Just stayed in the field of play, only just. Kieran Dixon with one of those typical little runs of his, but it was lateral. Didn't make too many metres forward.
Well, he's looking for one of the big forwards to just jump the line. He's looking for that space.
That was Maurice Blair. He gets the ball away. Short ball. And Greenwood. Oh! I think he's lost that. Did he go backwards or forwards? There's going to be a decision coming here from Ben Thaler, the video referee. There's a bit of a schmozzle going on involving Sean Lunt and Louis Anderson's in there, Vincent Duport's in there, Tony Gigo's in there.
Well, wasn't it a good line from Hull KR?
Back away, guys.
Good, straight, hard line.
What about the tackle from Tony Gigo? He may get awarded as a try, but to drop James Greenwood there, a metre from the line.
Well, he had to be committed, didn't he, Phil?
I thought I put it down, it's gone backwards, hit the foot, picked up and grounded. Okay, so we've got time off.
That's the referee's version on the field. They have a try on the field.
It's gone backwards, hit the foot, picked up and grounded. I also want to see what's happened to this guy as well, please.
If he's put the ball down, doesn't that mean that the tackle's completed?
Well, we'll see whether he was
the way he's described that then.
It almost looked like I think he's trying to say that he put the ball down backwards. Basically, he's saying it's a try. Can the video referee find sufficient evidence? And I think
a knock on.
There's evidence of a knock on.
And is it a high tackle that has caused a little bit of a furore amongst the Hull Kingston Rovers players?
Well, that's the other thing to look at, isn't it, Stuart?
Yeah, we'll take one at a time. We know it's a knock on. So, what's caused the? Is it a high tackle before that?
Gigo is the man who gets the arm underneath the chin. So far, it's legal.
Well, the first contact there is certainly on the chest. I don't think you can call that a high tackle. The contact around the head is probably incidental to that, but he's definitely lost the ball. It's a knock-on. I don't think it's a high tackle. I think that should be a scrum to Catalan Dragons.
I agree with you, Stuart. As a job, your job as a fullback is to stop everything when it's running at you, catch all the high balls. He's made up for that mistake he made earlier when he dropped the ball, but he come up with a great tackle there to save what surely would have been 6 points.
He's obviously still trying to decide on the
legality of the challenge.
The legality of the challenge. Yeah, it's certainly a knock-on, so it won't end up in a try. That's how we restart the game. My feeling is that it's the tackle is fine, and we should restart with the scrum to Catalan, 10 metres out.
Eddie, I've not got a problem with the tackle. I've absolutely
not. You never
got
do, Terry. Let's be fair.
I've not. That's a legal tackle. That he hits him with everything. He gets his body in front. Obviously, at the end of the tackle, he's swinging around him just because he's running towards the sideline. He puts his arms out. The first contact is on the shoulder. There's no problem. It's not a high tackle. It's not round his neck.
Well, it was a try on the field, remember, that they found 100% reasons why this should be no try, which it is.
It's a knock on here.
And it's purely and simply a knock on. And awarding a scrum to the Catalan Dragons, head and feet.
Well, it was a terrific pass selection from the halfback, young Matthew Marsh, who puts the second rower in space, hits the front runner. Everybody had eyes for the back runner. And again, another.
You get the ball. Keep it tidy.
James Webster, he knows that was a chance, and he's not going to get too many tonight.
I suppose if you take the positive, as far as he's concerned, at least they've at last got over the line.
Well, the positive for me there, Eddie, as a neutral, is the fact that that is a brilliant try-saving effort. If Tony Gigo had just hit James Greenwood around the thighs, then it would have been a try. He'd have fallen over the line, but he certainly did an amazing job to stop a try in that situation.
Hit there by Sean Lunt, who is not going to leave this field tonight wondering. There is the try saver from Gigo.
And that's attitude, Eddie. Something goes against you, get out the line and you try and belt the opposition. It's a great shot from Sean Lunt, trying to lead by example.
Julien Bousquet is out there now. Clawed to the ground by 3. Pelissier, they're very quick on the play, the balls, aren't they? And this is a high hanging kick. This is spiralling everywhere. Difficult for pinched by Inu. What a take that was. What a take. Dixon was on the floor expecting the ball just to drop into his arms. It was spiralling everywhere. It was so high from Richie Myler. And then along came the big man, Krishnan Inu, and he just plucked the ball out of the air. And he has come up with the try, the 4th try for the Catalan Dragons here tonight. Grounds his comeback from the 3-match suspension. And it's gone very quiet here at the Lightstream Stadium.
Well, he's a big, powerful player, Krishnan, who played for the Kiwis in the 2008 and 2013 World Cup. There's only one man that focuses on catching that ball. He's the only one who's confident. The ball, it's a great kick from Richie Myler. Everyone's on side. The chase, the towering kick and the big effort to catch that ball, because what he's also got to deal with is where Dixon is, and Dixon, you can see, he's more interested in having a look at Krishnan Inu. And when I said at the other end of the park as a fullback, you've got to make sure you catch all those high balls and you make sure you tackle it in front of you. And what Kieran Dixon did then, well, he just took his eyes off the ball, focused on that man, which led to the try.
20-0, kick to come. It'll be 22-0 in a moment, and this game is rapidly slipping away from Hull KR. 30-10, they beat Leeds last week, the team that trounced them 50-0 in their previous meeting at Wembley last August. Pat Richards' boot has established this 22-point advantage. Wow, what a start for the Dragons.
Well, there's two aspects of this kick and catch that you've got to be happy with. The first section is where he beats Dixon, but what about the handoff and the skill to not only catch that ball but have the awareness to know that the fullback is going to hit you and just pick him up and shove him off.
Well, you know, after the game, John Wells very often comes up with a game breaker. Usually it's something that happens in the second half, but for me, the game breaker could well turn out to be the tackle that Tony Guijo put in to deny James Greenwood. 16-0 would have read 16-6. I'm certain the kick would have gone over. All of a sudden, in the blink of an eye, we've now gone to 22-0. That's a brilliant stop on the big second rower, and he saved his side, certainly 6 points at that point.
So Guijo, the try saver, and Inu, the try scorer. 22 points to 0. News from the Catalan Dragons coming from Bill.
Well, Catalan Dragons, it's eerie this is, because before the game I was speaking to Jérôme Guisset about previous meetings, and it was he who remembered last year here when they were leading by 20 points to 4 with a couple of minutes to go before half-time, and they managed to lose the game 50 points to 20. Catalan will be desperate to ensure that lightning doesn't strike twice.
Indeed they will, and of course the last time that we featured Hull KR on Sky Sports was on Good Friday in the derby against the Black and Whites, and Hull KR were leading by 20 points to 0, and in the last 20 minutes of the game Hull FC, they came and pinched the match 22-20. Jérôme Guisset, the man with a long memory, alongside him there you might have caught a glimpse of Michael Monaghan as well. There he is, barking out the instructions from the sideline. Brother Joel, of course, still playing in the Super League for the Castleford Tigers. And two ex-Warrington players, of course. I bet they will have their TV sets tuned in tomorrow night at 7:45, Sky Sports 2, to see how their old boys get on against the Saints. Can Warrington lay that awful Super League bogey that the Saints seem to have over them?
Should be another good game, Eddie, tomorrow night. But focusing on this game, and Catalan, well, they're choosing to kick early. They're kicking on the third play. There's a number of times they've done it in this game, just turning Hull KR around, challenging them to bring the ball forward. I think they've turned up with a real bully mentality. Just get into the Hull KR forwards, put that doubt in the minds, take the game away, as Barry said, from Sean Lunt, so he can't get out from dummy half. There's nothing to play off.
The Dragons have been in a situation like this already this season when they played at Wakefield. I think, if I'm right, they led by 26 points to 0 at the time, and they allowed the Wildcats, a team low on confidence at the time, to work their way back into the match, score some points and get competitive. This will be interesting to see whether this Dragon side is any different to the one that played earlier in the year in Yorkshire, and whether they can keep the pressure on their opponents here now that they've got them on the rack.
Rovers have got a lot of work to do to get back into this match. As Baturi played that to Policier. That's a great ball from Gigot to Richards. And was that played up by Ben Cockayne? The Dragons are saying that it was.
It didn't look like he played it. I think it just hit him.
See if he's played it, Ben, please.
And the referee has asked Ben Taylor to check on that very fact, Stuart, whether it was played at or whether it wasn't.
It's hard to ask a video referee to imagine what's going through the mind of the defender, isn't it? When he's running towards the attacker here, is he playing at the ball? He's trying to stop the man with the ball.
He would look accused. I don't think he's moved anything. It's in his normal stride to go to make the tackle, and the ball's hit him. So I think this will be Hull Kingston Rovers' ball.
Yeah, he can't get out the way there, can he? He's just trying to effect the tackle, Ben Cockayne. They broke on the side. He's got to come up with a tackle, get himself involved.
Nearly.
He was advancing, obviously, towards the player, though, wasn't he? Which was probably why Richard Silverwood had the doubt in his mind.
Yeah, it is, Ed. He's got a lot of things to look at, hasn't he, and focus on, but Ben Cockayne can't get out the way. The ball comes off him and ricochets into touch, so he can't be penalised for that.
Chris Clarkson carries the ball forward on tackle number 2, just over the 20-metre line. They're flying in, though, aren't they? The Dragons, they really are. They managed to delay James Green for a moment or two, but down he goes again.
He'll get confidence off that run.
They need confidence from somewhere, and they need it quickly. And I think James Webster's got a lot of work to do in the dressing room at half-time, unless things can change in the next 7 minutes or so. George Lawler struggling to get to his feet. And there was a man, Busquet, all over the top of him. Here's another high kick, and it's well, Richards, has he learned his own lesson? He allowed that to bounce. He knew he had the opportunity to let it bounce because the chase was a bit slow.
Never let the ball bounce, Eddie. Whether the chase is slow or not, it could have bounced back into an arm of a Hull KR player.
But he's just told the number 1, Tony Gigot, how to catch the ball, and he wasn't going to spill it, was he? He wasn't going to come and stretch for it and spill it. That's why he let it bounce.
Well, me and Phil were both looking at each other when Bill Arthur fed that back up. You've got to be pretty stern in what you're offering if you're giving advice out during a game like that. But Pat Richards, a well-established player of the highest quality, and he probably thought on that particular incident it was better to let it bounce.
Well, Bill did say that they didn't just purchase Pat Richards' services for his point-scoring ability, but he is 6th on the all-time points chart in Super League. 2,192 before tonight. He's added to that total a little, and he began the night 8 points behind Sean Long in 5th place. So there'll be a change coming up here tonight in the record keeper's books.
What he also is a good pro that'll bring some of the youngsters on through the Catalan club.
Oh, unlucky. That's good to see, isn't it?
Now, is it unlucky? Is it unlucky? Because they think here that Gregory Muniz has scored here, and they have a try on the field because they think it came off his knee. Well, if this is given against Rovers and given for the Catalan Dragons, Hull KR will feel, well, that everything is going wrong for them and nothing is going right tonight.
Well, he was in a good position, Richard Silverwood, so he should have got a good view of it. He says it comes off the knee, and it certainly looks like it does there. His hands are away from the ball. He withdraws his hands. So Richard Silverwood in a good position to give the try.
And what about the pass? Was that okay going backwards? It wasn't a knock-on, Stuart. I know they can't go for a forward pass. Nothing wrong with that, is there?
No, he's clearly passing the ball backwards. Hits his knee, carries on forward. If the grounding's fine, this will be awarded.
Do you know, there's a temptation as well from Gregory Muniz to try and catch that ball, but he knows that he can't take full control. He lets it come off his body, continues going forward, picks it up to clean catch and a clean try as well, Ed.
Looks like it. Ben Thaler says that the try should be awarded. Well, Mount Kilimanjaro has just become Mount Everest.
Well, I'll tell you what Everest looks like when I do that one at the end of the year, Eddie, but I'll tell you about Julian Busquet, a player that's developing into a really good front row. He runs very hard, very strong, very direct. He's difficult to handle, and if he starts to develop his offload game, he could be a real threat and a real danger. Catalan making the most of their opportunities. Hull KR struggling to contain the Catalan side, but a beautiful pass from Gregory Muniz, who stays in the frame and has enough agility and enough presence of mind to pick a bouncing, difficult pass up. He might tell you he need it forward on purpose, but I wouldn't believe him.
Pat Richards here will go level with Sean Long, 5th on the all-time points scoring charts. 2,200 now for the points machine that is Pat Richards. But more importantly for Richards and the Catalan Dragons is that scoreline on bottom left of your screen, 28 points to 0.
Well, Julian Busquet, that's poor defence, that, because all he does, he just hits a straight line. He's not even pulling a defender out the line. You're looking at the ball carrier, you've got to look up what's in front of you, especially when you're close to your line defending, and Julian Busquet gets the ball because he's a big, powerful runner.
Well, the most impressive aspect from the Dragons, in my opinion, is the concentration. We know they've had great ability, they can score tries, and at times they can defend, but they've done it here for 36 consistent minutes. Okay, there's been 1 or 2 minor errors, but nothing significant here. They're going to get more possession with another penalty for interference. I wonder when the referee will caution or warn the home side.
Well, if my memory serves, the Dragons are still on a warning.
Yeah, but it's been quite a period now. It's nearly 12-13 minutes since we were put on a warning.
So they've cleaned their act up.
Well, the referee might look at there's been an improvement and carry on.
And a solid run. Great run again from Busquet. Alicia comes back into dummy half. And Olivier Elena takes it forward, and at the moment Rovers have got no answer to this Catalan Dragons side, who are just rolling forward and picking them off at will. And here is Anderson once again attracting 3 defenders to bring him down as we approach the 37th minute, it's the Catalan Dragons in possession again with Muniz, the latest try scorer. Good job that Sean Lunt held on to the right leg. Pelissier waits, fires the pass then to Bosk. Bosk drifts the kick into the in-goal area, and Ben Cockayne has to take the ball over his own line. It's another goal line dropout.
Eddie,
the pressure is incessant.
It is, Eddie, and Catalan just playing off the 50, getting the ball back to centre play, splitting the half-backs. They've got like an attacking shape that looks like the point of an arrow. Everyone's running, everyone's got the hands up, they've all got the energy, they're all playing in good field position, and it's just too easy for them at present.
Decent length on the goal line dropout. Broughton, though, has seen a hole and's gone for it right up the middle. It needed a desperate tackle, and it came from James Green. This is Myler, and he gets it away to Louis Anderson. He just bumps off one challenge, gives it then to Duport, and he goes down. Tackling from Matty Marsh and company. Once again, here they come with Ellimer. And Ellimer backing his way even further towards the Rovers line. 3 tackles gone. Muniz gets it away to Bosk. Bosk then asks Stewart to come back on the angled run. The former Manly man does exactly that. He's grounded a metre short of the line. Pelissier looks keen. Cockayne was quickly off the mark, but Pelissier gets away from him again. Runs laterally, dabs the kick to the in-goal area. And there's work here for them to do with Kensio, and sheer weight of numbers ground him in his own in-goal area again. Another goal line dropout coming up.
He's been very good. He's been Hull KR's best player, Ben Cockayne. He's all over the park. He's forcing them to play. He gets out, he puts pressure on Pelissier from dummy half, although he doesn't come up with that play. He makes Pelissier kick the ball into the in goal because they can't get on the outside of him. He's chasing him from the inside, and Kensio comes up with a play. But yet again, Eddie, if you're a Hull KR player, you've got another set of 6 to contend with here.
Yes, and you've still got over a minute to go to the half-time siren. And it's taken back in by Bousquet once again. They must be sick of the sight of them.
Hold! Go, 1.
It's with Bosk, and he gets the pass away to Muniz. Muniz looks for the runner, and there is Bousquet in centre field.
Go, 2.
Pelissier once again. Here is Myler, looking busy as he has throughout the night and bouncing off the would-be challengers. Gives it then once again to Muniz. Muniz now with the kick to the in-goal area. Well, he gives it to Kieran Dixon, and Dixon with the memories fresh of the 18-metre dash to the line last week.
Yeah, he was looking for one of those specials, and the fans now are trying to just inspire the team, knowing that they're running out of time, keeping the ball alive.
This is what they're trying to do, keeping this ball alive, but Catalan Dragons there in numbers. Laurent Freyssinet on his way down for what must surely be one of the easiest half-time team talks he has ever given as the Catalan Dragons coach. He's the longest-serving Catalan Dragons coach, by the way, in history. James Webster's the man keeping the seat warm for who knows who at the end of the year. And Dixon with a knock-on as half-time siren has sounded. Broughton got a kick to it, and the referee says that will do. Laurent Freyssinet will be delighted with what he's seen. I'm not sure that James Webster thinks the same way, and the crowd certainly don't. You'll probably hear the boos ringing round the Lightstream Stadium. It has not been a great day at the office for them or their players. 28 points to 0, the Catalan Dragons lead at half-time. Broughton in only the 2nd minute with the first try. 3 minutes later, Duport. Then, well, there was a little bit of a wait for the 3rd. It came on the 21st minute from Broughton again, his 2nd. Inu got in on the act on the 28th minute, and Muniz, 6 minutes from half-time. 4 conversions from Richards, 28 points to 0, the Catalan Dragons. It's theirs to lose. Well, this scoreboard doesn't make pleasant reading for Hull Kingston Rovers supporters, the players or the coach. 28-0, the Catalan Dragons lead at half-time. Have to say, though, in Hull Kingston Rovers' defence, they have lost their 3 big-name Aussies, of course, to injury. Terry Campese, Albert Kelly and Josh Montalato. 3 of approximately 7 or 8 first-teamers who are currently out of the side. And when you consider that this Catalan Dragons side, they've recruited the likes of Taylor, Stewart, Richards, Myler, Broughton, Horrow, who's not here, Mason, Paul Ayton, who's also injured. They've all got a big role to play in 2016 for the Dragons. And on the evidence of the first 40 minutes here, they are dark horses for the big prizes this year. Pat Richards gets us underway, second half. James Webster with, as far as he's concerned, the last 17 fit men standing are out here tonight, and he will be looking for a big improvement, I'm sure, in this second half.
Eddie, and it looks like they're missing some of those star players, especially those 3 players that you named in Campese, Kelly, Mantalato. They look like they've struggled when they've had decent field position, and you look at the stats from the first half. Well, when you look at Catalan, they've completed 88% of the time when they've had the ball. They've made 6 breaks in that first half, and Hull KR have not made one. Even with all that decent field position, all that territory, they still couldn't break Catalan down.
Penalty here, though. The first of the second half goes to Rovers.
The timing's everything in life, isn't it? And for Hull KR, they've played against the Dragons probably for the best 40 minutes of the entire 2016 season. Whether they can back that up and do it in the second half, as Walker here is dispossessed too late in the tackle. Muniz pulls the ball out, and the penalty certainly helps the home team with some more possession. They
also begin what they hope will be the road back to Wembley to right the wrongs of last year. Hull Kingston Rovers next weekend in one of the bottom 4 from Super League last year. They have to play in the opening round of the Challenge Cup. They're at home to Oldham next week. But of more immediate concern is how they get over the Dragons here, and can they, with Coqueno gets the ball out wide. And there's a chance there on the far side. Thomas Minns is the man who played the ball, and here they come now with Lawler. 4 tackles gone. First real test of this Dragons defence tonight. Can they stand up to it? The ball hits the ground, picked up by Thornley. They've reached tackle number 5, last one on the way here. And Clarkson dabs the ball towards the in-goal area, but Gigot was perfectly positioned, and he picks it up off his own line and gets a good clattering for his pains as well. He got a bad bang in the chest then. Let's go down to Bill Arthur, half-time news. Bill.
Eddie, James Webster down on the sidelines to supervise things now, and he knows how crucial this early phase of the second half is if his side are to get back into this game, and they do believe they can get back into this game, and they've spoken about how the Catalan Dragons allowed Wakefield away back into their game recently and how things were turned around here last year, but they know that to do that, to make that happen, they really have got to transform their performance in attack and defence, and in particular they've got to cope with the ruck speed of the Catalan Dragons, which they've got nowhere near in that first half, with the Dragons' completion rate so high up. And I think Laurent Freysineau, for his part, will be very happy with that first assault really on his try line, the way that Catalan have handled that, because the emphasis on the second half for Catalan is going to be on the defensive side of things, making sure that they don't allow Rovers away back into this game, and not so much emphasis on increasing that scoreboard. It's more keeping the Hull Kingston Rovers at bay.
So that's the way the coaches are looking at it. Myler's kick downfield is fielded by Cocaine, with a good chase once more from the Dragons defenders. It was Busquet who was leading the way.
Eddie, sometimes when the scoreboard's against you, you've just got to go back to basics and just run hard, try to bust, land on your front. And James Green's led by example, I think, in this game. He's really took the battle to Catalan, the number 16 for Hull KR.
Neat little run though from Maurice Blair, gets to within 40 metres of the Dragons line. What would they give for the first try of this second half? Pelissier could have been penalised for a flop then on Adam Walker. Lunt off the ground, gets the ball away, and then it is given and gifted to Glenn Stewart, and the pressure eases on the Catalan Dragons once again.
So that's a good test to see whether Catalan Dragons can play with the concentration level needed as they go Inu on the outside.
Krishnan Inu gets the ball away, but it flicks off the fingertips. It looked for a moment, didn't it, as though he was away and on the way to the try line.
I suppose that's the risk and reward, isn't he? He's taken the, rather than take the tackle and accept that his team have possession, he's flicked it inside. The temptation to get it to Broughton too great. I don't know why the referee's blown his whistle there, because
I think it just bounced on the line. One of the bounces just clipped the line as it was thrown out there.
Do you know, give big James Green a big rap for the way he runs hard and he lands on his front. In that occasion, he chose to offload the ball, which gives the ball over to Glenn Stewart.
Yes, you wouldn't give it to him ordinarily, would you, Glenn Stewart? Top tackler this year, a workaholic for the Catalan Dragons, and of course a man who's won the grand final in Australia. There he is again in the tackling. alongside Gregory Muniz. Don't forget, he will be alongside John Wells at full time after the final siren here at the touchscreen.
Go 4.
Nowhere through for Kieran Dixon. He's good on his feet, but he can't fool this defence tonight. Lunt puts the ball into Blair again. It goes high. Now this has got chances. She goes underneath it. The Rovers player was taken out, was he, in back play? It looked as though Matty Marsh hit the ground illegally. And the referee says play on as Duport carries it forward.
Yeah, was he nudged off the ball? Was he impeded when he was going for this ball? Well, Richie Myler cuts across his path. That's a penalty for Hull KR. If Richie Myler just goes straight back and stands in front of the man who's going to catch the ball, which was Tony Gigo, that's okay, but he runs across the path of a Hull KR player.
Yeah, he changed his line. He knew he was coming and made sure he got in his way. There he goes.
And he saw him coming, and that's why he changed the direction of his run, Richie Myler. So that's one that escaped. Gigo to his feet again. Pellissier. Kick coming in from Thomas Bosk. Down the middle of the field. Allowed to bounce once again, but again, no chase from the Dragons to speak of, so they had the time to do that, but it bounced awkwardly.
Eddie, but by letting that ball bounce, there was 2 players there at the back that should have really gone for that ball. They were in decent enough position. If they would have made an attempt to get there, they would have got it. They didn't do that, which allows Catalan a further 10 metres up the field.
And it's on tackles 1, 2 and 3 where Hull KR are losing this game. We've seen terrific contributions from Pat Richards, Duport, Inu, Broadman, Gigo, and Hull KR can't cope with that, and they can't respond to it and throw anything back at the Dragons.
There's James Greenwood though. Hassel to the floor, will play it, and Lunt will have a little run at them from dummy half. That's the last. Could play the ball, that's what they wanted. Now then, what's the kick like from Matty Marsh? It's high again. It's a decent kick. It's bounced kindly for Hull KR. They still have possession. It gets untidily to Ben Cockayne. He gets it out here to Kieran Dixon once again. Dixon loses his footing. That's the last tackle. Inu all over him. And that will be the turnover. Craig Lucas, by the way, has been in touch with us this week. He wants us to give a mention to the York Acorn Amateur Club. They're all watching the match tonight, apparently. And we'd like to wish the under-12s team the very best of luck for their first Challenge Cup match this weekend. And York Acorn say they'll also be very happy to welcome any youngsters down at the club this year if they'd like to have a go at the sport of rugby league.
Just going back to the one of positives, I suppose, for Hull KR in the last few minutes, was that the kicks at the end of the sets have been better. If you look between these two teams, they make 15 to 20 kicks in a match to try and gain ground or put their opponents under pressure. And the ones too often from Hull KR in the first half rolled out of play or over the dead ball line. Catalan trapped their opponents in goal or in corners like the back of this kick.
It's a great kick from Gigo if it stays in the field of play. And he makes sure it doesn't. Kieran Dixon, that was a great kick, but Dixon using the rules.
Well, the current rules, I don't think, encourage the skill or reward the skill. It didn't seem to make sense to me, but maybe at the end of the season they'll look at that. Good offload there now from the Rovers, playing with some good spirit.
Yes, they are all good though. He's lost that ball in the collision. I think the Catalan Dragons have got it back because Richard Silverwood racing to get out the 10 metres on the other side of the field. So here comes the pressure again from Anderson. He finds Gigo, he finds Myler. Myler goes wide to Duport. Duport sees the line and goes for it. Once again, Tony Gigo in this attack. Thought about the pass to Myler, but Rovers quickly in on him to bring him down. Myler waits. Oh, Myler goes himself. Oh, it's a soft try. It's a soft try for Rovers to concede. The last thing that James Webster wanted, and he shakes his head. That's a rarity in the game these days when the try is scored from the acting halfback position and they just burrow over through a weak defence. But Richie Myler has done exactly that. His fourth try of the season. He's missed only one so far against Castleford on Easter Monday. Loving life in the south of France.
Eddie, when you're coming out of yardage, you've got to make sure you wrap up that ball, and there was a loose carry from him. Muniz made a play, but you've got to make sure you bottle that up. Ben Cockayne said he's come up with some brilliant efforts in the first half. He's just too eager, looking in field, seeing what's going on. Well, the threat, the danger is to play the ball. Richie Myler, he fakes it one way, he comes the other way, and that is a soft try, and James Webster knows he'll concede tries on the edge. He won't concede tries close to the line like that one.
Says there is some late movement. It's Sean Lunt who goes from one side to the other, but you're right. James Greenwood. He'll be disappointed when he watches that. When he watches that back again, he'll know he needs to react better. But Lauren Fresinu knows that whenever Richie Myler can pick up and score an easy try like that, then this game is in the bag. And Jamie Peacock, sure, him and plenty of other Hull KR representatives and fans are not having a good night at all.
No, but Lauren Fresinu is the longest-serving Catalan coach, the first man to be in charge for more than 100 games. He's got about a 50-50 win ratio as well, and he has a man like Pat Richards who can kick goals and can stretch the lead tonight to 34 points to 0.
He's had a good game, Richie Myler, but you can see Sean Lump pushing across the back, and you've got Ben Kane, and say just switches off, and the inside man who should have been mopping it up, Greenwood, but he's left with no chance there because the other men had pushed away and presented that gap. Should have been cleaned up, and that's disappointing for James Webster.
Well, defence, you know, has been a problem for the Catalan Dragons this year. 37 tries conceded. The only top six side to have shipped in more than 200 points. They kept Widnes down to 1 try on Saturday, and for 50.5 minutes here tonight they've got Hull Kingston Rovers with a big zip alongside the name.
They look like a completely different team, and the only thing that's changed really is their attitude. You know what, our researcher gave us some notes before this game, and he made 3 good points about the Dragons. Do they have the defensive commitment? Can they concentrate well enough? And do they have the self-discipline in attack? Well, they're showing that perfectly, and this is going to be a brilliant team try. No, Guijo stopped.
That's great chasing back by Ian Thornley, but has he only delayed the inevitable? It's a penalty. Oh, someone's in the sin bin here. It's going to get worse for Hull KR.
Yeah, they will split Eddie, the speed.
Ben Kane is the man who's on his way to the bin.
Yeah, the last line of defence, Ben Kane, they were broke on the right edge. The speed of Jody Broughton gets them out of trouble. He passes the ball inside, and then they just can't get set. Tony Gigo, you can see when he gets up, lands on his front, goes for the quick play, well, they can't get set. As Catalan nearly made the mistake from the tap. They have to do it with 12 men now, Eddie.
Yes, it doesn't get any easier. Thomas Bosk managed to retrieve that situation for himself and the team. This is Willie Mason. Incredible, you know, when you think just 2 away wins all of last year, Wakefield and Hull in the last game of 2015. And here they are now on the verge of their 4th consecutive victory on their travels. Such a transformation in 2016 for this team, with all the big guns blazing at the moment. Pellissier, and again trying to pinch one from dummy half, and Rovers have learned the lesson, but they're all offside on that right-hand side, so it's another penalty going the Dragons' way.
Another penalty, more pressure than Hull KR. Well, they're rocking at the present. They're looking fragile in defence.
As I say, James Webster says this is the last 17 men he has fit to take the field tonight, and the job isn't getting any easier for him at the moment, because Catalan looking to really turn the screw here as Pellissier fires the pass into Myler's arms. A pass out wide to Richards. It comes out of the back door to Duport. Duport goes for the line, drives the legs in towards it, and it took 3 to bring him down. Richards now off the ground, gives it to Myler again. Myler then to Bosk, and here comes the runner Gregory Muniz. And Rovers having the devil's own job to put him to ground, but eventually they do, right underneath their own posts. Pellissier is there. Pellissier goes to the left-hand side. Willie Mason on his comeback to Hull KR, and Myler is celebrating. He thinks it's a try. Richie Myler thinks this is a try, and Richard Silverwood was in the perfect position to see. And they've got a try on the field, he says.
Well, this will go down like a lead balloon, Eddie.
Has Willie Mason crowned his comeback to this ground, which wasn't the best part of his career, with the latest Catalan Dragons try?
Well, James Charles touches on the far side. He ran quickly to the dead ball line, so he thinks it's down. And there it is. Fingers are still on top of the ball. That ball's being grounded. It doesn't come away from his hand. His fingers stay on it all the way down. That's a try.
I agree with you, Stuart. I can't see any reason to not give that. I'm just gauging the atmosphere and the thoughts and feelings of all the Hull KR fans here tonight. That's a try.
And if it's given, and we think it will be his first for the Catalan Dragons. Try on the field, and a try in the mind of video referee Ben Thaler. He was here at Hull Kingston Rovers in 2011. He only played for 6 months into a 3-year deal. Then he was released after just 6 appearances. And he has come up with his first try for the Dragons in what looks like it's going to be a very, very good night for them here in East Yorkshire.
Well, the Hull KR defence was split. Wonderful tackle here. And the fullback, who quite rightly Tez has mentioned, he's been one of the best on show for Hull KR. Ben Cockayne, he's involved. He gets sent to the sin bin. And that numerical disadvantage doesn't explain what happens after this. A big man, so close to the line. There's 4 defenders around Willie Mason. Nobody takes control and responsibility of the ball. And Willie Mason, with a good grip on the ball, is allowed to put it on the try line. And another try, more points posted for the Dragons.
Eddie, they've conceded some poor tries close to the line, haven't they? Some scoots from over from the sticks.
Thomas Bosk has taken over the goal kicking from Pat Richards for the time being. They've hit 40 points. Only 55 minutes gone. Ben Cockayne in the sin bin. Grim night for Hull Kingston Rovers after all the promise of James Webster's early tenure of the hot seat here at the Lightstream Stadium. Just sheer strength from Mason.
Yeah, he's had a hostile reception. That's poor defence, Eddie. So Richie Myler dive over from dummy half, and we saw that try from Willie Mason. James Webster, he'll know that. That's terrible. That's terrible defence from them.
Well, Webster, 2 wins from 5. It could have been 3. The Good Friday derby still fresh in the memory round here.
Very strong run there by Dave Taylor. You know, a couple of weeks ago, Eddie, I made a comment about several of the Australian players for this Catalan Dragons, said that they look like on a European vacation. I couldn't have been more wrong tonight. They've been committed, they've been disciplined, been very impressive, haven't they? Every single one of them. It's a pity that Hull KR have had a yo-yo week, haven't they? So good last week, so low today. And I suppose one of the issues for them as a club really is to try and work out a more level consistency. So at the best, they're still up there, but at the worst, they don't drop to the level we've seen here for the last almost 50-60 minutes.
Yes, they have a little bit of a repair job to get started on here, Hull Kingston Rovers. Lee said soonest mended about the derby, but they were too good for Leeds last week. But they're nowhere near the Catalan Dragons here tonight. The avalanche started coming at them actually in the 2nd minute, and it's not stopped.
Eddie, they've started well in recent weeks, Hull KR. But the first, 10 minutes, 15 minutes of this game, it was really poor. Conceded 2 quick tries. They just didn't look in the game. Then they got back into the game with a 10-minute spell. And James Webster knows that you've got to match fire with fire. You're up against a side that's got so many experienced players from this country, from over in Australia, but they've just not competed and conceded some very, very simple tries.
Well, I'm pleased to say that all the Super League clubs, they roll the red carpet out for us when we come to town. But Hull KR, maybe, just maybe, they won't be doing that in the future, because the last time that Rovers were nil, we saw them. It was at Wigan last July, 60 points to 0. Here, though, they have a penalty.
It's ruled a one-on-one steal. It was stolen one-on-one, but the last touch is a knock-on by Hull Kingston Rovers. So there's the knock-on. We should have had a scrum to Catalan here. Instead, they've been penalised for the offside.
So that's some relief for Rovers as they try and get rid of that big fat 0 alongside their name. They have 23 minutes or so to try and do that, as Dane Tilse carries the battle forward, as he did early in the first half. Lunt gets the ball away. Here they come. A chance for Clarkson. Knocked on.
Forward pass is called from the side.
Has he?
There,
right, yes, he has. Sorry, yes, I see the sign now. Forward pass it is. And Chris Clarkson looks a little bemused as to where the decision has come from. He's looking at the big screen. Here it is. Well, that doesn't look forward.
Well, that looks okay, that.
That pass looks fine. It did come from the side, the touch on this near side.
You see it from this angle, It does look forward.
And that's the view of the touch judge, isn't it?
Yeah.
The pass from Adam Blow, when he goes in, he engages that mark, and he's trying to get the man who's coming onto the ball to just come tight, come short in Clarkson, get the one-on-one with Thomas Bosk.
Let's go! Out!
Dane Tilse has a little shake of the head as well, but when he sees that in review, he might concede from the sideline. It definitely did look as though it went forward. It's been a very quiet Lightstream Stadium tonight, hasn't it, from the home supporters' point of view, and they're normally so vocal. Well, nothing to shout about.
We've just seen the introduction of another French player, Stanislas Robin, number 23, come on to the Dragons. They've been very good for almost an hour. I mean, this game's won for them, but as a test of the concentration, if they were playing a team in top form and the game was very tight, if not level at this point, can they prove themselves to be an 80-minute team? That takes a tremendous mental discipline when the games are 40 points in your favour. But they've shown complete concentration, and again, good composure here to kick to the corner and trap the opponents in a perfect position.
That was a great kick again from Gigot, picked up by his opposite number, Ken Seo, and he was ankle tapped, down he went, and he had the considerable frame, and I mean considerable frame, of Dave Taylor falling on him as he went.
Yeah, Eddie, you saw him pre-game, he is an absolute monster.
Didn't Bill say on a recent home game he's in a quadruple extra-large jersey?
Yep, he's trimmed down from 135 kilos. I was told by Richie Myler he's now 125 kilos. So the weight's falling off him now.
Still a big specimen.
If you ask him out, Ez, maybe you can try and trim down a little bit.
Well, there's just no way forward, is there, for the likes of Kieran Moran. Having to kick from deep inside their own half of the field. Tomorrow night, I wonder what's going to happen here. Warrington trying to break the hoodoo of the Saints.
All the way, guys.
I read today, and I think I've got this right, they've only won twice at home in Super League history against the Saints. At home, as I say, yes. Twice at home against St Helens. They've got a great record at the moment at Langtree Park, Warrington.
Well, everyone's expecting Warrington flying high at the top of the table. Saints down on numbers, so Eddie, it will be a great game. You never write Saints off, never write them off.
No, there's a flag that says that behind the post.
Well, how good are the Wolves without Chris Sandow? You know, he's probably been, you might say, arguably their best player this season. Can they still perform and trouble teams without him? As the Dragons here just seem to, with pretty much consummate ease, roll downfield, don't they? Made 50 metres with those players, and their last tackle kicks have been brilliant.
Here's Taylor with the last tackle kick to the corner. It's very well weighted again. And Duport was chasing that. Has Thomas Minns taken the ball out dead? Yes, he has. It's a goal line dropout.
Continuing to build some pressure, Catalan. Dave Taylor, we've mentioned before about his skill set. He can pass, he can offload. There's a lovely deft little touch as he kicks the ball into the in-goal. And you can see the respect his teammates holding him, because as soon as he has that ball held out in front of him, and it looks like he's going to kick, they're on the front foot and they're deciding they're going to chase it.
He's like a halfback in a prop's body. You don't know what he's going to do because he is that big. You're focusing on him. Is he going to run at me? Is he going to try and run over the top? Is he going to pass the ball? No, he's going to kick it.
Oh, inventive. Well, it was almost inventive.
It's just going from bad to worse, isn't it?
I could see what was in his mind from Maurice Blair, but it didn't quite come. Well, nothing's come off for them tonight.
Yeah, Eddie, and if it does come off, it's a brilliant play.
To be fair, he's only 15 metres too long.
Yeah, well, comes off the side of his boot, puts him under pressure, and one of your golf swings, that, Eddie.
Yeah. Well, what's golf? I can't remember how you play the game.
Stand away!
A drive in from Catalan Dragons. And Willie Mason, he won't want to leave the field after scoring that try. Pellissier. And Taylor takes it over after Myler found him. Another solid run from the big fellow. They push him down again. He's asking for a penalty. It doesn't come. Mason, short ball then to Pellissier. He loses his footing. You get the feeling they're almost toying with Rovers at the moment.
They're just waiting. They're sitting back. They're waiting for Catalan to make the play before they're doing anything about it. That's better. Get up and put pressure on them. Force them back. Try and make them play early.
Blair with the tackle. Here come the Dragons once again with Gregory Muniz. And here we go now on the last tackle for the Catalan Dragons. The kick to the corner from Thomas Bost, looking for Inu. Oh, it was going to be well claimed, but it's knocked forward and then offside.
Yeah.
Sean Lunt picking the ball up in front of the man who claimed it. Kieran Dixon in midair, losing it.
Again, it's another brilliant kick because it means the wingers comes in. He's 10 metres from where he wants to be in a comfortable zone. A new challenges for the ball. And the last tackle kicks, whether it's to gain ground or to trouble their opponents, have been superb by the Dragons.
Mason, he's got one, he's looking for two.
Motion!
Held just short then. You can't fault Ben Cockaine's effort tonight.
No, he's been very good.
Richie Myler gets the pass away to Gigo. Oh! And James Child could have caught that.
Well, everything right, didn't he? I think it might have been going for James Child. Everything right. Stop the defenders from going out. Running, committed at the line. The winger gets interested in Kensio on Vince DePort, and the space is there on the edge.
James Child needs to push up a bit there. He's miles away from that pass.
Stanislas Robin was as well on the far side. Well, he did have a flag in his hand, so it would have been difficult.
Push up, lad, come on. Show some energy.
Well, the last time we did training with the ball, he wouldn't have caught it.
Harsh but fair, Stuart.
And you would have, Stuart.
And just looking at that tackle again, that reminds me of how this match started. After 10 minutes when Hull KR got the ball, there was 3 or 4 defenders forcing their opponent back. The desire to defend is greater than that to attack, and anytime you play a team with that mentality, they are very difficult to beat.
They've got them trapped inside their own quarter here, haven't they? The Catalan Dragons.
Eddie, and if you've been under pressure for most of the game, which Hull KR have, you're down on your luck, you're down on your energy as they get an offload here.
That was Kieran Moran who got that ball away to Sean Lunt. Billy Anderson just laying weight on the back of David Taylor. There's Maurice Blair again in centre field, gets the ball away. Decent hands, good work. Ian Thornley, tackled though by Inu, but they've made good ground forward. They're in the Dragons half of the field now as this kick goes up again. Oh, he didn't learn the lesson, Tony Gigo, from Pat Richards.
That's a little bit better from Hull KR. The people and the fans and the spectators who come to watch Hull KR every week, they don't want to lose, but they don't mind losing. And it's in the manner that you get beat, or you lose a match, not getting beaten. And you see some glum faces on the sidelines from players who feel like this Hull KR side at the minute are well beaten.
Well, they are, and Terry, you counted up, didn't you, before the match, the number of players who are missing tonight. The guts of this team has been ripped out.
Yeah, 9, which affects your interchange, and I'm not having a go at any of the players that have come in, but you're missing that experience, and you've got to play, well, with the team that you wanted to sign at the beginning of the year, and you want to go out with your best side, and James Webster just hasn't had that.
And they're coming forward almost at will, but Myler is cut down once again by Ben Cockayne. I don't know how many times I've said that tonight. This is Anderson to Taylor. And Taylor, he thought about the pass. He's taking them towards the line himself, David Taylor. What a run this is from him. But he's held up, says the referee. And they go back to the 10-metre mark and they play the ball again.
Terrific defence from Thomas Mins. He knows he can't outpower and outmuscle the big man as he helps him up. But what he does is he clamps that ball. He doesn't allow him to put it down. You see the number 21, he's got hold of the ball, and he knows as long as he's got his body in between the ball and the ground, they can't score the try.
Yes, that's good work from Thomas Mins, the former Leeds man. Signed here on a 3-year deal. This is the last, remember.
Richard Milo trying to get Stanislas Robin involved, wasn't he? He missed the chance to score off the Kijo pass, and then the kick from Milo, attempted to cut back behind the play of the ball, but Cockayne got there first. It's a very tough last 15 minutes here now. There's a great deal of effort, I think, being shown.
And they get the penalty here for a ball steal by Glenn Stewart. Catalan Dragons have nilled 4 teams in Super League football, all of them at home. We want to know here in the next 13 and a half minutes or so whether they can do it away from home.
I'm sure they'll be trying that. They'll want to keep that 0 there, but strong carry from Rob Mulhern. You can't give up. You've got another further 14 minutes. Jason Bettieri, I love watching him play. He's like a little battering ram. Yeah, he's the man who stripped the ball from Rob Mulhern.
Yeah, and it was a 2-man tackle with Glenn Stewart, so the referee had no option but to call the penalty. So can Rovers now make anything here from just inside the Catalan Dragons half of the field? Lunt was the dummy half. Here they come again with Blow. That was a bit high from Glenn Stewart, wasn't it? The referee didn't think so. Lunt will carry on again. Stewart in once more quickly with Thomas Bosk.
Yeah, Adam Blur with Glenn Stewart over the top. Yep, could have been a penalty yet. Another strong carry from Mulhern.
Yes, Rob Mulhern takes it to within 9 metres, but they've reached the last tackle here. Now, can they force a repeat set? At least out of this. Stewart came out, kick wide to the corner. Dixon, no, couldn't get to it. Too long again, out on the full.
Is it me, lads, or did that just look too slow?
It probably looks like there isn't too much organised. Kieran Dixon, I don't care how high he can jump, he's got no chance of getting that ball. You can't fault the effort, there's been bags of effort, but you can't help but feel the first 15 minutes when they expended so much energy defending, that's ultimately cost them at key points and key periods in this match.
I wonder whether, having played so well last week against Leeds, whether there was an inevitable lull from them. You know, a lot of players, young, inexperienced, they were so high, and whether they've been able to get back up for this game within the space of a week. It does seem they've nothing been like the team that played the 4 previous games. Now, they didn't win all of those, but they were very competitive when they played at Wigan, and they were unlucky, you could say, when they lost against Hull by just 2 points. Prior to that, they were brilliant when they beat the Reds, and obviously had that victory over Leeds. So they've been good for 4 games, but this is a terrible low tonight.
It is, and it's going to be their 4th home defeat of the year tonight, and they only lost 3 throughout 2015 in its entirety on their own soil. David Taylor again. Very quickly into the ball carrier, puts him down unceremoniously.
They have been spirited, and if you look at some individual performances, they have turned up, but as a team, they've just not been there. And as you said, Phil, in some of those games, they were absolutely brilliant, but in this game, to not even score a try and to concede 40 at home, that's just not good enough for James Webster.
There's a great deal of local talent out there, though, isn't there, for Rovers here tonight because of the injuries that they've suffered. And is there something here for Kieran Dixon? He's cut inside 2, he's cut inside 3. He almost got away from Pellissier. Gigot is there again to bring him down. 4 tackles gone. Rovers sniffing something here as Matty Marsh spreads it wide once again.
It's George Lawler, isn't it? He played a lot as hooker in the absence of his colleagues, but he's done well as a back rower here, and I think we're going to see a bit of him this season.
High kick, and it's too long, it's too deep. Gigot behind his own goal line just diffuses that, so it's a 20-metre restart, which he takes quickly and gets them on the front foot again.
Good tackle, Ed.
Very good tackle. But Robin was able to get up, bounced off the ground and kept the movement going, and there is a player flat out.
I'm sure they'll stop this play already.
And he does.
Well, both sets of players, they're not happy. They're a little bit concerned.
Matty Marsh, who is receiving the treatment.
It's an almighty clash and collision. Matty Marsh, you see him just on the right of your screen. He's not happy, clutching, possibly clutching his jaw, maybe.
Well, that's what they're concerned about. They're concerned about the jaw, they're concerned about the neck as well.
He's holding his head, but I did think I saw his finger in putting him put his finger in his mouth, which sometimes a player might feel the inside to see whether the jaw is all in place.
It was Ben Cocaigne's hand, wasn't it, that came into contact with him, his own player.
It's just a huge collision, isn't it? Both of the players going in to tackle the Catalan player.
Concern for James Webster. 18-year-old Matty Marsh is the man on the floor. It is a big collision. Bang. But I'm sure it was Cocaine's hand, his own teammate, who got him full in the face.
Yeah, I think the more you watch that.
I don't think that's what it was, Eddie. I just think it's the force. Just the powers just all coming together. There's nowhere to go. You bounce off, you feel that collision, you feel that impact.
Well, is this the season as we watch Matty Marsh thankfully get to his feet and looks like he's okay to carry on? Brave young man. Is this the season for the Catalan Dragons?
Well,
we're asking that about Warrington as well.
This is the performance of the season so far for the Catalan Dragons. In my opinion, they're disappointed me up to this point, but at this level here, they've played as well as any team I've seen in 2016. Consistently. Over 70 minutes there, what they've put together, hugely impressive.
And they've obviously got a doctor who gives them Dramamine these days to cure the travel sickness, haven't they? So we'll see how they do at St Helens next Thursday night, 7:30 Sky Sports 2. And of course you can see all of the Dragons home games on a Saturday evening live here on Sky Sports as well. And they are very, very good to watch this year. Warrington Saints tomorrow, don't forget, 7:45 Sky Sports 2.
Well, they're certainly entertaining, and what they do, they play the game physical, but one thing they have been this year, which if you look back on recent years, they've not been disciplined over years. This year they've been very disciplined because they've been earning their own penalties, Eddie. Yes. They've been running strong, they've been playing strong. They've got half-backs that are playing on the back of this go forward, and Dave Taylor, I think he's been one of the best signings in Super League this year. He's come over to play, 27 years of age. After 170 games in the NRL, and Lauren Fraser, you know he's got a very, very talented side on the pitch.
That penalty was given for offside at the play the ball. So here they come again with Batieri. Halted by the challenge from James Green initially. But this here saunters into dummy half. He's weighing up the options both ways. Goes down the middle. Myler again. Gigot, drop of the shoulder. That's a double movement, surely. Or is it? Was he tackled, or was the ball projected forward?
Time off. I'm going to try.
Oh, they have a try.
Just make sure there's no double movement there. It's all one movement.
Well, my original thought was it was a possible double movement. Stuart, what say you, and what do you think the video referee Ben Thaler will say?
Well, it's all about whether his momentum takes him over the line. If he doesn't propel his body forward, it doesn't really matter what his arm does. As long as his momentum continues and keeps going. He's actually kept it up off the ground there. It doesn't actually touch it. So what they usually do with this is look at it at normal speed.
Isn't it the ball or the ball carrying arm hitting the ground?
Either ball or ball carrying arm.
Well, there it's hit the ground.
Well, it's hit the ground, and there is a second movement, and his body doesn't look like it goes over. So I think you'll be right on this, Eddie. I think this could be no try.
And I'm with you as well.
I'd like to see it at this pace now.
There's the double movement.
Yeah,
that's three of us.
Yeah.
What are you two going for?
Doesn't matter what we think, it's what this fellow thinks, Ben Taylor. There you go. No try.
Well done, Eddie. Well done.
These glasses, £1.50 from the local store, they're brilliant.
As long as you can keep hold of them, though. I'm sick of showing you where you've left them.
Yeah, there it is, the double movement. That's confirmed by the video referee. Ben Thaler and Richard Silverwood. Richard Silverwood's got Olivia Elmer out of the line. He said, you do your job and I'll do my job.
And just for everybody at home to answer the question, when I'm telling you where they are, they're usually on top of your head.
Sadly, that is true. 40 points to 0, 8 minutes remaining. Can Rovers get a score? Will the Catalan Dragons nil a team away from home? Solid enough run again. There's been one or two little bright spots.
Well, it's trying to
and
find
Maurice Blair, Chris Clarkson, Sean Lunt. You know, there's a few of them out there.
Yeah, they're trying everything, Eddie, but try and find a hole. Try and find a gap in that defensive line. It's just like a black wall.
That's what they're trying to do now, down that far side with Thomas Minns. They just slide, and there are numbers aplenty there. Although they have some possibilities here. Well played by Gigot. Again, got himself in between the passer and the ball receiver, knocked the ball up in the air and claimed the possession back for the Dragons.
Well, can he come up with some magical plays, Tony Gigot? We've seen him come up with some brilliant things in the past. We've also seen him come up with some howlers. But one thing for sure, he is a talented rugby player.
He read it.
If he doesn't read it, they may concede a try.
It could have been a try, exactly.
Back.
Well, the Dragons were special in that opening 10 minutes. Can they do the same in the last 10? Dave Taylor's been over on the left, now he's over here on the right-hand side.
He's all over the place, isn't he? He really is. Such a talent.
Well, if you're on the left edge for Hull KR, you wish you'd go over to the right.
Oh, not the best from Batieri. They just lost a little bit of the momentum there. Louis Anderson has picked it up and held on, and then loses the ball.
Well done from Lawler. You mentioned him already, Phil. He started the game in the hooking position, and both him and Sean Lunt are on the pitch at the same time, but he targets the ball, hits the ball carrying arm. I don't think he's attempted to strip that. I think it's just a fabulous shot. Wet ball. There's a little bit of drizzle coming out now. Can Hull KR get one try to send the fans home with at least something?
I wonder, though, whether Lauren Freyshnu would want to see whether his team can really play the full 80 minutes without conceding a try. That will surely be his aim now, won't it?
A professional performance, Eddie. Make sure you play for the full 80 minutes. They came out, they started strong. They finished the first half strong. They started the second half strong. And obviously now with just over 5 minutes to go, they want to finish the game.
quickly
Look
out
at
of the
that line
defensive
speed.
line, though. Tremendous chasing there by Bousquet and company. Bacheri in there as well. And Olivier Elema.
You've got nowhere to go, Eddie.
Clarkson. Down he goes under Duport's tackle.
Go, 3.
Lola, the dummy half. Infield it comes. Cocaine's been good for them tonight as well, Hull KR. He's been willing all night. He really has. This is Greenwood. He gets the penalty.
Well, there's been a couple of players, and like you say, you said Ben Cocaine's been good. When I look at what Green's been doing when he's been carrying the ball forward, Greenwood's done an awful lot of defensive work, which goes unnoticed, but he's still there. He's still trying to bring these Catalan forwards down. There's Green taking the ball again. Been a willing worker.
Hold, go, 1.
Here we go, the setup in the centre field.
No way through for Ken Seo.
Richie!
2 tackles gone, though. They've got a chance here, Hull Kingston Rovers, to get themselves on the score sheet tonight. Blair, and he gets the ball away to Robbie Mulhern, who stands up and plays the ball to Blair again. There's Cocaine. This is Clarkson. Out the back door it comes. Oh, and then is that lost or stripped? Well, it's a mess. It's a schmozzle. It's a knock on, and it's Hull Kingston Rovers' ball.
Yeah, it was stripped, Eddie. The ball was stripped.
Nice little test here for Catalan. They've nothing to lose other than challenge themselves here to see whether they can concentrate. 1 or 2 players dropping down. A little bit of cramp for Kristen Inu. This is a really good test of your mental discipline to focus and try to defend here now in the last 4 minutes, as if the match depends on it.
What I would say that Hull KR need to do in the past few sets when they've been closer line, they're shipping the ball without attracting and pulling any of the Catalan defenders out of the line.
I must say that Rovers, despite the fact that the game has gone, they were very quick to form that scrum. And that was Greenwood who took the first tackle. Here is a possibility for James Green. Oh, he's lost the ball. A knock on by Hull KR as they look to eradicate the 0 from alongside their name. A bit of pushing and shoving and frustration all over the place. Now, you might have noticed some hand signals being made by players and supporters of the Catalan Dragons here tonight. Bill Arthur is the man who has been keeping an eye on that. What's all that about, Bill?
Eddie, I'm surprised you've had to ask me, because it's actually a tribute to the French hip-hop artist Jules, who apparently is a big star in the Marseille area, in Marseille and beyond. And these are the young French supporters. They've had a fantastic day. They've had a trip to Bridlington, and they've seen the Catalan Dragons winning 40 points to 0. So what more could he ask for? But that sign is a tribute to Jules, the hip-hop artist from Marseille, and Tony Gigot started this because he comes from Avignon, just up the road from Marseille. He's a big fan of Jules, so he's got everybody doing this sign. I'm sure it's going to catch on.
Well done, Bill. Thanks for that.
I knew that, Eddie. I've got one of the T-shirts from a concert.
Yeah. Well, I'm going home through Gould tonight, but I don't think that's quite the same thing, is it?
All right, we don't
No, there's personal pride on show, isn't it? Hull KR not scoring, it frustrated Green because he's lost the ball. Jason Batieri, he's not one of the biggest players in Super League, but he certainly gives it his all every time he pulls on a jersey. He certainly won't let size intimidate him. And they come together, they're clashing heads. Well, no one throws the head back and then brings it forward, so...
Well, I know who I fancy in that one. Jason Batieri's a fierce competitor, but James Green is a sizable figure, let's put it that way.
Here we go.
As a result of all that, it is the Catalan Dragons who get head and feet at the scrum. Oh, and there's a little lack of concentration, and Laurent Fresneux will not be happy with that. Cody Broughton coming up with the mistake right underneath his own sticks. It is.
Yeah, simple play, bringing the ball away, thinking that you've only got a couple of minutes to go before the referee's going to blow the whistle, and Laurent Fresneux knows that the game's well and truly won. But let's finish it off, lads. Let's not concede a try against what is a desperate Hull KR side in this game.
Okay, stay close. Ball in.
Well, they get another chance here, do Hull Kingston Rovers, with
Haven't got
Maurice
enough in the
Blair
scrum, though.
leading the scrum. The ball is knocked forward. He was pulled back there, was Ian Thornley anyway, but it's a drop ball by Rovers. It has been an eminently forgettable night for the Robins of Hull Kingston Rovers.
It has, but hasn't that been great defence as well? To break from the scrum, knowing where the threat, knowing where the danger is. Chris Ninu over the top of Lunt as he's trying to get that one-handed offload away to Thornley.
If you're going to trap in the second row, he's going to
Well, the Rovers fans will feel despondent as they leave the ground, Eddie, and head home tonight. But my mind goes back just a few weeks when we saw Hull KR's greatest rivals, Hull, lose by 40 points at Widnes. And if I'm right, they then went on to win the next 4 games following that, picked up 8 points. Unbelievable, really, after being embarrassed by 40 points at Widnes. So things can turn around very quickly, as they well know, having seen the team win against Leeds last week.
Indeed so. I don't think that anybody coming here to this ground tonight in red and white colours would have expected anything like this. OK, Catalan Dragons will have started the favourites, and they do go second in the table tonight. But they would have expected better from their local side.
Because of the 9 players missing from Hull KR, I did expect Catalan to win, but not by this margin. They've absolutely been so dominant, so forceful in everything that they've done. Been very clinical when they've had the ball. They've not given those penalties away in certain areas. And this is what they've done. They've managed the game. They've kicked it to the corner. Although this one might go dead. Although he's played at it, has he? No.
But in 2000
was over the line. Sorry, Eddie.
All right, Stu, no problem. I'm just saying in 2008, I think I'm right in saying this, the Catalan Dragons finished 3rd in the Super League table. But at this stage of the season, lately, I don't think we've ever seen the Catalan Dragons riding as high in the Super League table as they are right now.
No, they've been very good, Eddie. The games that we've watched them on Sky Sports this year, they've been very good. Not only have the backs and the outside backs got some skill, but the forwards as well. Phil commented on it early on. They passed the ball together and they're so dominant.
Catalan Dragons supporters are counting down to a victory, and Ian Thornley will go down in that tackle, and that will do. Laurent Frenichenu's men shakes hands with his coaching staff, Michael Monaghan, Jérôme Guisset amongst them, and it's a disconsolate figure that James Webster has cutting at the moment. His team have been well and truly beaten by the men from Perpignan. 40 points to 0. They're the boys who've had the big day out in East Yorkshire. But they're dancing in one part of this ground, but they have got hands in their pockets and have got glum faces in the other. Hull Kingston Rovers 0, the Catalan Dragons 40. 5 wins in a row for the men from Perpignan. They have bought big, they are playing well, they are a threat on the evidence of this in 2016. Tremendous performance from them. The night to forget for Hull Kingston Rovers. Least said, soonest mended about that from their point of view. And Bill Arthur is with the first utility man of the match. Bill.
Thanks, Eddie. Tony Gigot is the first utility man of the match. You get a bottle of champagne, Tony, but more importantly, you get 4 away wins in a row. This is incredible. You couldn't win away from home hardly before.
Yeah, that's very good, and we worked so hard for this win away. Now let's continue. This is just the start of season. We got 10 or 9 games now, but we're very happy. We just want to continue to work, have a good win in Perpignan now. And let's see at the end of the year what's happened.
The mentality seems to be a lot tougher in Catalan.
Yeah, we work very hard during the preseason, a lot different from last year. And we work hard on our defense, and we can see today we didn't take a try. So that's good. We just congrats all the boys, because we did a good game, same if we did a lot of error. But that's a good game for us tonight.
Just give me that back and just show us your try celebration again. What's the sign? Now tell it, Jules. Who is Jules?
This is a good singer from Marseille. Just we want to represent him. Very good in France. Everyone love him. So I'll just have a hello to him, Joe.
Well done, Tony. Thanks. Well done, Jody Broad.